All right, so I had to in and start recording again. So this is the image. I don't know why network is just slow. So the image here and the image is still loading, just a few seconds. But confirm if you can hear me. At least let me know I'm with you guys.
Can hear you.
Okay, thank you. That's okay. So just hold on. Figma is loading up. I think it's because of my network. Let me see. Just down the So I'm going to screenshot it again. Let me go to our next website. While this one is loading, we can't wait all day for it. So let me go to their website and screenshot where I was teaching yesterday. So I have so I'm trying to paste the image here. I just got let you just allow me. Okay, it's loading. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mm, Let me try something. Okay, that's personal. Yeah. Okay. So let me close this guy and open it again. Okay. Hopefully. Okay, so let's get started. It has finished loading. I hope you can see my screen. So let me start from the beginning, from yesterday. All right. So we're trying to understand how the foundations of the framework of every website, every layout, and I explained yesterday. Just if you can hear me, I've started teaching. So I was trying to explain that even if you're using Framer, if you're using Webflow, if you're using Squarespace, if you're using, even if you want to code, this is how the basic structure. Okay, I said someone to confirm if you can hear me so that I know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was trying to explain that this is the basic structure of every layout, okay, of a website rather, and different layout has different way of understanding it. But then if you know how you can approach anyone, then the rest will be very simple. So you were trying to create the wireframe for this hero section. So I said that when I say, oh no, it's my trackpad. When I say div, when I say section, that they mean the same thing. Okay. Sorry, not section, no. Container. All right. So div and container, they mean the same thing. That's what I was trying to explain, just in case you hear me say any of them. So in this particular, this is the hero section. All right. So a section is made up of elements. So let me just start from the beginning. I'm going to move these two things out. This was our structure yesterday. So on your whichever tool you want to use, but just know that on any canvas you find yourself, you can always start building the way you want. And for what we are going to use, we are going to be using Elementor because it's very easy for us to see how it works in practice. Okay, so when we want to put in your first section, your first section is mostly going to be almost like this. Okay, so you just drag in your container, or if you're using if you're using Framer, I think it's called stack in Framer. Okay, so you just put in your stack or your container or your div element. Okay, if you want to code, and then for coding they have their own structure actually. But since we're using no code, that's why I'm saying it this way. So this is your section, and this section is actually empty. Okay, it is when you now start building on it that it actually becomes a full section. So let us call this a container, and then we now have inside containers, we now have child containers and parent containers. Okay, so if I put in any container inside this particular container, which is the hero section, right, it is the child. So if I put in anything now, let's say this is another 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 div inside this div. This white one becomes the parent, and then this gray becomes the child. All right. And even if you now put in another stuff inside, okay, let me give it a different color. Even if you now put in another div inside different container, the gray one automatically turns to the father, right? Which we call parent container. And well, this one becomes what? The child container. Some people can call it child element, and this is the parent element. So this one is the parent to this one. And then this white one outside, like this big white one, is the parent to this one inside. Okay, so that is how it works. Because why we have to put them that way is because each of them, once you become a container, you're able to give some control to what is inside of your body. Okay, now this first one has a way of controlling the elements inside its body, which is this gray. So it can say that, okay, this gray should go vertically or horizontally. Let me draw that. So so we have vertical. So you have vertical and horizontal alignment, directions rather. So this first one now, which is the first, let's just say P1 is the first parent, right? Can now tell this gray, which is the first child, okay? It can now tell it, okay, I want everything inside of you, right? To go, okay, not even inside of you. I want you yourself. Let me not even confuse you. Let me delete this one. Let me not confuse you. I want you to go this way, right? I want you to be going to go this way. That is sideways. So even if I duplicate it, let me just duplicate and show you. Even if I duplicate it, everything is going to go in that particular direction. All right. Now that is the power of every container. It has the ability of giving directions to anything that is inside the body. So it can also say, since I am your parent, right, I can choose to stack you differently for you to go downwards. So it automatically go this way. I'm doing it like as a rough work. If I want to do it, there's a way you can do it with Figma here. If you're a UI designer, all right, that is where auto layout comes in over here, which I don't want to go into. That is not the Figma class, right? But if you understand what I'm doing, then you get what I'm saying. So that is how parent and child elements work. Anything that is inside a particular container is a child element to that container. As simple as that. So we were trying to create this layout, this first layout that you're seeing here, how we can have it. We were trying to break it down. That first thing is that there is a background in this container, right? This is a container. This container has a background. Look at it. So your background can be an image, which is when I drew this. It can be an image. This is like a gallery logo, icon rather. Since it is a wireframe, since it is a wireframe, it will not have to be the main image. It will be what? A symbol to what you want to be there. Or we now say that this background can be what? A video. So I created this icon yesterday. If you're on the call, you saw it. So to show that there is a video that is going to be here, which is what we have in this particular website. There is a small video playing, a little animation playing there. Now, one thing I said is that your wireframe is not your final work. Anything can change. That's what it's called a wireframe. It's where you put in your first idea. Sometimes wireframe can be in your paper. Why I have to use Figma is because if I do it on paper, you don't really see what I'm doing. But you can use pen and paper or pencil and paper. There are some people that I teach and we use pencil and paper to practice. So you can use your pencil and a sheet of paper to do your wireframe. It's just your idea. Okay. So that is how wireframe works. So now, like I said, this image has what a background. Now you will notice that I'm not putting a color here because it is when you are now building life that you can now say, okay, let me put black, yellow, or whatever color. I have not put any color. This is the entire background, but over here is light because this is a wireframe again, remember. But the main thing is the elements in the wireframe that matters. Okay, this is where you put colors. Then to now show that there is a write-up here. Okay, so what you can do is you just get your, if you're using a pen and paper, you just draw a rectangle. Remember, with the main reason I made this into the fence is because I know that other things will be on top. Even this image, it was bolder than this. I had to make it to be fence because it is a background. Don't forget. So the opacity is 30. You can even reduce it to 20 so that your work will be neat. You see. So let me see the opacity that we have. This is 39. 39. Let's do 20 so that you see what other things that I'm doing. 30, 30. I'm sorry. This is where you put your opacity. That's not too far. Let's do 40. Okay. So it's still visible. So to show that there's a write-up that will be here, I will just bring in this shape and then I can make it to go down a little bit. So this shows your heading text. Okay. So basically, I know my heading text is going to enter to line. So I will just make it to go to line this way. This is almost what you're having here. Keep it at the center. Okay. This my play button is not visible. No. Let me increase it. And then reduce this guy. 74, 74. Okay. So leave the fancy stuff, but just get the main idea. This is how you try to ideate your wireframe. Then this small this thing can now be to still be box like this. To still be box, but to be very, very small. Just small. Remember, the first one was the heading text, and this one is the complementary text under the heading text. So you can make it long, just small. I will make it to be more faint. Right? So we'll have something like this. So now the main thing is that this structure is having a layout. That structure is having a layout. Who can guess the layout that you are having there? You can try. Anybody?
What's the question again?
Okay, well, that's in the layout that we have here. We have horizontal and vertical layouts, or let me not say layouts, horizontal and vertical directions, which I was explaining earlier, all right, about child elements and the rest. So I've answered the question. So, this layout is having a vertical direction. That means that this container has given an authority that whatever is inside of myself should go where? Should go vertically. That is the simple thing that you're seeing here. That's what you're seeing here. If for whatever reason you now say whatever is inside this hero section container to go vertical, right? Every element will stack this on the other way around. Let me just try and show you. Everything will stack this way. You see? This is how things will stack. Are you following? So, but with this direction, with the vertical direction, we are able to have things stack downwards. So when once you're building, you're going to see we are going to give this control to your child element. Now inside this, so let me not start that now, but I'm going to show you how when you have inside this parent container, you don't have another container inside, then that container now has its own direction. That is what you are having. That is what we are having in this place. Okay, so this one, everything is going down. Everything is going down here, as you can see, but we have something that is going sideways here. So let me just start with a simple layout. So this is how you can interpret this layout. Then for the content up, you can just show that, oh, there is something that will be here. All right. So you just, these ones are like basic sketch wireframe. So I'm not doing wireframe as a UI designer. That's why we're not talking about frames, auto layout, and the rest. But this is wireframe as a designer, as a web developer, that is trying to put down his idea down. So let me know where you have questions, because I know some people might have lost in my explanation. I'm waiting.
All right. Good evening.
Yes,
Please,
good
can
evening.
I ask? Yeah, can I ask what factors determines how the layout is, either vertical or horizontal?
It's your choice. It's your
Okay.
choice. I'm just like this, what they have here, the designer chooses things to go vertically, right?
Okay.
And
All
then when
right.
we came down here, I'm looking, it really has more of, then now if you come down here, you see we have horizontal. Things are going side by side.
Okay. Thank you
Things
so
are not
much.
going so it's your map, yeah, it's your choice of what you have in mind to do, but that is how it is done. For
Okay.
example, yeah, so let me do a little example using like, let's say I'm a UI designer, right? So I'm going to take my frame. To do your frame, just press F. I use more of shortcuts. So just press F on your Figma keyboard, just F, and then you can draw your frame. So the best way to even have the accurate size of frame for, let's say, laptop is you press A, and it will bring out this. See these guys. So these are the different screen size and the frame size. I think I did this yesterday. Yeah, that's why we had this iPhone screen here. So if you just press A, you can now choose desktop, and on that desktop you see MacBook screens. So I like using the main desktop screen. So you see to add a desktop screen to me. Okay. And then let me delete this. I'm sorry, I don't want to add comments. So this is like a real desktop screen size that you're seeing here. Okay. And then I now want to let me look for a complex layout that has two themes so that you can understand better. These layouts are almost the one I saw now. So now, though this is a view, a full view height. View height, VH means view height. That is that first screen that opens when you open your laptop. The first full screen of your laptop or of your desktop, this is what you have. Do you understand? That first full screen. So, but if you look at here, this place now is not a full screen. This is just a section size. So this is not a full screen. So let me just randomly, I'll just do it my own way, sure. I'm not going to follow him. I don't want to show you for you to understand. So now, this is the first, the hero section, and then I want to achieve this layout. So what do? I need to understand the structure first of all. Things are going sideways. Okay, so how do I achieve things going sideways? First off, the direction that this guy is going to have. So you come here, you see, if you can see my screen, you see the layout is what horizontal, which is Figma now. So I'll first of all give horizontal layout to this screen, this section. You understand? So that means everything I'm going to put inside is going to stack horizontally, like this section here. So let's start. So I'm now going to put in a frame. You see that once I put in a frame, if I duplicate it, observe something. Let me put a color so you can let me fill it with a color. If I now duplicate this frame, Control D, you see that it automatically stacks way horizontally. Now, if I then click on this desktop frame that is holding the two of them, and now say, okay, let me change the layout to vertical. Notice that both of them will automatically change. You see, they are now changing to the layout, the vertical layout. Do you understand now? That's what I was just trying to explain earlier, but I was just trying to do it as a rough work. So let me just reduce the size. The size of the box width are too big. All right. So you see what I'm saying now. If I come again, this same parent container holding both of them. If I still tell it to change the direction to vertical, to just change for me. So that's what I was trying to explain. Then remember now, these two now automatically are what? They are divs, oh, they are now containers on their own. They are not boxes. Oh, I just put a color for you to see. These two are boxes, are containers, also known as divs. So that means that this one on its own has the power of controlling anything inside of it. We'll get to that. We'll get there. So we are going to align. First of all, we'll align the items to go to the center. Right? We'll align the item to go to the center of this layout. What I'm doing now, we should do it in WordPress, in Elementor, but I'm just showing you for you to see this how, because I have an idea in Figma, in UI design, that's why I'm doing all these ones. So now, if I now say, let me now start building now. So now let's say this loved by leaders at, is going to appear in this first container. Okay, so observe also that this loved by leaders at, the elements in it are going downwards. Do you understand? They are going downwards. So that means we have to give this particular div, right? We have to give this particular div a direction for things to fall inside. So that automatically means that this guy is also what? A parent on its own, because things will be entering inside its belly. Okay, so I'll give it a direction for it to control things vertically. So whatever I'm going to put, let me expand it. Whatever I'm going to put, let me just show you. If I put a rectangular line and then duplicate it, you see that they are going in the direction that we gave it. Okay, it's going what? In this vertical direction. If I now change it to go horizontal, you see that the two boxes in it will now change. They are now going side by side. And you now see that is because, let me center this. That is because this guy automatically what is a parent element. Do you understand now? So we don't want to go horizontal. We want it to go vertical. So you can now, let me delete this. I can now bring in my text, and now I can use lorem ipsum since it's a wireframe, but I'll not really advise that. So I'll just use love by leaders. And then I'll select all, increase the size as to be. So normally it's not even supposed to follow me like this, but because of the arrangement, we need to arrange your layout in the way you want it to be. For example, now I want things to start in the middle, align left, but in the center. You see, this is not the Figma class, so I don't want to go deep. So you now see things are now stacking, even despite that things are going side by side here, but inside this particular one, things are going downwards, because this one is now a parent element that cannot control anything that is inside of it. So that's how you achieve something like this. Okay, the same thing here, whatever you can now put here, you can now give it direction, right? So that's how directions work in wireframing. So we want to just understand, notice that I first of all studied that, okay, this div has what? Two layouts. Okay, for you will not see, even if I'm putting color for you to see, but on a very normal, you will not see all these ones. You will just see the write-up. Then you put color, you only see the write-up. You get so you see, but something is holding this write-up. I think this is what I explained in div that is holding this guy. The developer only reviewed it small because he was trying to style that place and give it the curve. Do you understand now? Just like what we had here. If I want to also reveal it small, I'll now give it a small color, right? And then I can now give it a border radius, right? So now I can now reveal a little of what is holding this element. So again, so that is how layout works in web design. So for this first one that we did here, it's not really a complex one. It's just a one direction thing. That I had to go for a complex and list. So that will make me to explain better for you to understand. So layout is a matter of choice, a choice of your own, how you want to bring out your creativity. Okay. So our first assignment I gave us was for us to check for layouts, for project that you want to do. And then the second one was for you to, for you to get Figma. And I believe you've done that in week 1. So now the next assignment is that you are now going to look for inspirations for your own project. And then that's what you're going to submit. So, and I'm going to work with those that are submitting their projects. Let me show you what I mean. For example, I'm going to show you sites you can check for inspiration from. You can check, there are many places. Let me check Landmark. Okay, sorry, Landbook. We have Landbook. Let me share my screen. Somehow, the journey will not really make sense until when people start posting what they are doing. That's when the excitement will start. The boring part, people don't want the boring part. So, but that time it will be too late because I will be working with those that are submitting what they are doing. I can review. So we go to landbook.com. I'll post this link in the group. Landbook has a lot of websites, this thing. So if you come to websites, I think you have to sign in. You see, you have portfolio. You want the portfolio website, you can come and get inspiration here. But my teaching is that don't copy somebody's work word to word. What you can do is you can combine two. Okay, so the assignment is you're going to check for two inspiration and then submit it for your project. So you're going to submit it in this way: your name, the project you want to do. Let's say you want to do let's say you want to do a website for, okay, this is a furniture website. Let me look at it. Let's say you want to do a website for a furniture brand. So you just write your name, you write the industry of the website, what you want to do. If you want to do an NGO website, you just mention it, okay? And then you now put in your sample, at least 2 samples. That is your inspiration. So I'm going to review the inspiration. If it's what I approve, then you can proceed with it. But the main thing is for you to go with inspiration that is not too complex for you. This one is very simple. Not too complex for you for a start. Is when you can do your first landing page then you can now understand how complex websites works. Because at the end of the day, you're going to stress yourself. You stress yourself. Okay. As a matter of fact, it is even the minimal website that is much, much beautiful. So you can come here, get inspiration. You can go to Dribble, but Dribble will not give you some inspiration in Dribble are not workable. Let me show you what I mean. The inspiration in Dribble, most of them are people that are just wild on creativity and not the functional part of the project. You get not all of them, but some of the project on Dribble, website project on Dribble, is just creativity that they just use Figma. Because in Figma you can drag and drop anything that you want. The way I was showing you guys. Let me search for a landing page. So in Figma you can do anything you want, but then it's not functional. Do you understand? So you can come to Dribble and then, but I'll not really recommend Dribble. Except you have an eye for good design. You understand? I only recommend Dribble if you start developing websites, then you now know what works and what does not work. Do you understand? So that's it. For example, this one, let me show you. To some extent, this design does not really work. You get this is a write-up here, and then this is another design and a write-up here. Do you understand? Then we have too many write-up in the hero section. What do you want people to now start reading? Read this one, read this one, read this one, read this one. Even if we have good hierarchy, but the content is too much, you still have the menu elements. This does not work. This one, they are just trying to be creative. Do you understand? They're just trying to be creative, and then not all of their projects works. Yes. So that's how well Behance is. Not all of the projects work. It's just to show creativity, but most of them also works. Like all these one that I'm showing you, like this one now. This one is very functional. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
all right, so you copy the links of the two inspiration sites that you want, because for a start, you need to get inspiration from people before you can start building yours. You understand? But they don't have to copy word to word. Okay. So let me check if there is any equal messages. Okay, Behance still works. Okay, someone asked if Behance works. Most products on Behance is more functional than even Dribble. You get Behance works very well. Behance works. So this is how it works. Let's say you want to search for a project, like this one now, a furniture website project. So you can go to Behance and then just gather inspiration from other people. Do you get? But if you're not really good with getting inspiration from other people, then I can permit you to copy one person. But you need to start somewhere. So it's not a bad thing if you duplicate people's work for a start. So let me share my Then you can search here. Let's say furniture websites. I have to sign it. So that's how it goes. Behance, Dribble, Landmark. You can use Framer. Framer also has good stuff. You get, but don't overkill yourself with inspiration. If not, you'll be confused. That's why I'm trying to limit it to 2 places, because in one place alone, one platform alone can give you up to 5 to 10 inspiration, right? So just make sure that you look for something that is not too complex, so that if you can understand the simple parts, then you can understand the complex parts. As a matter of fact, you are using the free version of Elementor to build. So there are some things that is achievable with no code. But then if you now start with those advanced things when you don't know how to manipulate with the basics, because there are some things you have to manipulate with how good you are. If you don't know how the basics, how things work, then you'll be confusing yourself and it will be as if you're not making progress. So let's search furniture websites. So you see this inspiration from other people, right? For me, I'm going with this. Furniture websites are basically minimal. So, but I gave you guys like a full week to check for what you want to build. So before now, even what I'm even saying now, it will have been a question from somebody asking me where they can get ideas for their projects, but nobody asked. So you take time gathering. Okay, this one is a UI. Sorry, this one is a UI. Gathering inspiration for your projects will take your time, whether you like it or not. Gathering resources itself, images. I spoke about it. Images. It will take your time. So this is one of them. Let's see the main layout. So this is almost what we just did now: a background, a text, and a button. Simple. You see? Then over here, there is a div, and in that div, we'll now put in this content. So I'm going to that. Let me not start now with all those things. So this is nice. So what you can do is you can just come to the URL and then copy it and paste in your submission. Okay. So, but just try to consume. This is we are doing the landing page. We are doing the home page of each of your projects, right? So we are going to be doing like the home page in this bootcamp, not like a full 3-page website. So we're doing like the first home page or the landing page, and then from there can now proceed. All right, so any question? Let me also show you guys something. Of course, now let's say, let me show you. Most times you normally see what website that has 2 buttons. Good, like this part, although it's a little bit blurry, but let me zoom out. There is 2 buttons here. Okay, there is a right up, and then let me check for a clear. Let me go on screenshot it so you can see it. So I'm coming. Okay. All right. So still the okay. Well, sure you can see it now. You can see it much better. So we have create an account, and then we have speak to someone. So in this kind of layout, notice that there's a background. Can you see? There's a background, and in that background, we now have a lady smiling, right? And then we now have a content here. So in simple terms, this is how this is achieved. I'll just be doing like a rough work. I have shown us already, but let us do it as a rough work. This is the, let me make this thing a bit thicker. Okay, so this is like the section, and it has a background image, right? Then the trick here is that there is two div inside this guy. The first one and the second one. There is a two div inside this layout. Do you understand? The background is there. Don't confuse. This one is not inside this div. If you don't follow me there, you're already missing out. Then inside this okay, in this parent container, the direction is for elements to go this way. Okay, that is why you're seeing it. You're seeing this thing in this side, and then in this one, nothing is inside. That's why this place is empty. Follow me. This div, nothing is inside. That is the trick here. And then they now put in elements in this second div. Text elements, text elements, text elements, and then you know that this div now has the power of giving authority. Remember, so the authority that it has given itself is that everything in my body should go downwards, vertically. And then can you now see that's how this section is achieved? Now, how do we now remember everything is going downwards? So how do we now have these two guys to be going sideways in a place that everything is going downwards? So somebody should unmute and give us an idea. In a place that everything is going downwards, how come that these two guys are now stubborn to go side by side? I'm waiting. Let's brainstorm. It's a very simple thing. Not like it's a big
think
thing.
we should create another div.
What do you say? Hello?
Yes, did you hear what I said?
Yes, I can hear you now. What are you saying?
I was saying, should we create another div?
And you just tell me what you think we can do to have it go side by side.
I think it's to have it go sideways, bar, is to go to the layout and change the orientation to horizontal orientation.
Okay. Any other person?
I think there's going to be two divs here. The first div goes vertically, which is how we achieve the text, and the other div beneath will be horizontally.
Horizontally. Okay. Any other person? One more person. Let's see. Do we have any suggestion? So the thing is, if we change this direction, then that means everything is going to stack. Like this guy now, to not come down again now. Let me just carry them and show you. If you change the direction, this is how it will be going. Can you see? Everything will be going this way. If you change the direction, Let me change this drawing. If you keep it like this, then everything will be going this way. Remember, you're the one that is giving it the authority. Okay, so what Ahmed said is actually correct. The best thing to do is that you have to, and that girl, though I can't see her name, I've left the call screen. She had an idea of adding another container, right? So we are going to add another container below. And then this container will now have the authority. Remember, every container or every div element has the authority. That's why we make use of it. So let me try to make this a little bit straight. So this one now will now give its own authority and say everything in my body, okay, go this way, right? So we want to now put in your buttons will automatically respect that layout, that direction, right, to go this way. So that's how we can achieve it, that even if this guy is going down, something inside it can go sideways. And the best way to do it better, right, when you're building, though there is, let me not carry you to that side. Know the rules first before you break it. What I want to show you that is how to break the rules, but let me not go that way. All right. So the best thing is that once you want to do this kind of stuff, so that you be on the safe side, it's only when your hand on the strong and know how to manipulate things. Then, if you want to do this kind of thing, you do what Ahmed said. You use two divs. First container, right, inside will carry the text. Then the second one will carry the buttons. Okay, so this one, now remember this parent container has given two of them direction to come down. Then this one now will not give its own direction for everything to go sideways. Sorry, for everything to still come down. Yeah, everything is still coming down. The text is still coming down. Then only this one now will not give authority that they should go sideways. Okay, so but once you start building things for a while, you can see that you can put your text elements. Most time I do it here. I can just put my text elements if it is just a little text. I know that, okay, to not give me headache. I'll just put my text element and then put in my div, right? And then put in my button here and my button here. So this gap now that you're seeing, we are going to talk about gap padding and margin. This gap now, I can now use my padding or my margin rather to give it this spacing. But again, don't do that yet. All right. So that is how we can achieve that. All right. So we are going to talk about padding, margin. The space that you're seeing between these two texts is a gap, right? These two buttons, create an account and speak to someone. This is a gap. It's called a gap, right? And then the space also, let me use a white. You guys remember me to clear my cat because of this cohort. So there are spacing, and the way I'm seeing itself is as if they're in the same gap. You see the gap between this text, this body text, this heading text, and the body text. Now, and then there is also a gap between this and this guy. This gap, this spacing are called gaps. Okay, they are called gaps. That is the space between two elements in the same div. Now, where padding comes in is if you want to separate this particular, the div holding these two elements, don't be confused, just follow me small. We'll do margin and padding proper, but if you can stand down to understand, see better. You know, remember that there is something holding these two. There is something holding these two guys. So if you want to make this, what I just told you earlier, if you want this particular container, this particular div to give these two texts more space, you can use what your margin. Margin is the gap outside your div. Well, padding is the gap inside your div. Like this thing now, this white box I just drew, the small space that you're seeing inside, the small space by the left, by the top, and by the down is what's padding. Though when you're doing this proper, it will not be as rough as this. But this gap now, let me zoom in. This gap that you're seeing from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, that is from the side, inside though. You see the way I'm drawing it inside, from the side, right? From the top, from the bottom, the space around these elements that the container gives, this div gives, is called padding. Then the space outside, like I told you, that you can make this thing to come down without affecting anything. So that space now that it shifts from outside is margin, right? Then the space that it gives between the two elements inside this A and B, the two buttons, this small gap that you're seeing here, this small gap is called gap. You can make it to be longer or to be shorter. These two, the small space is called a gap. We can give a gap of 30 to expand and give it more gap here. So, so that's it about layout. So the more you will start doing, the more it gets more interesting, that you understand better. And so, yeah, you can ask your question.
What about I want to ask, does the same thing apply to, the text within the box and that space around that text?
Okay, the space around the text.
Yes.
Okay, all right. No, the space between this text, these two are gaps. You give it. When you give the gap, you give the gap with. Remember that this thing is the parent's container. It is the parent's container that has the ability to give the gap, the padding, the direction. That's why they are called parents. They have the authority to give some controls to elements inside. So the elements, this make the switch today. That text and this text, they have a gap. So it is this guy. Where is mine? It is this guy now, right? That is giving them that gap that you're seeing, these two gap, right? And then there is you not see padding here. Let me show you where you're going to see padding. You see padding in things like this. It's blurry. I did a full. Now this one is a good example. It's a little bit blurry, but just bear with me. See padding here. You look at the spacing between this little thing here and the wall. You look at the way they are lined straight. Okay, so this is where padding comes in, the spacing inside the elements. If you look at this, is a professional design. The space here, let me just screenshot because it's not making, I'm not seeing it also. It's not making me to explain it well. Where did I see that guy? So let me just take these screenshots and then copy it, bring it to Figma, and then paste it. So this is what I'm saying. Right now, this padding, this is padding. The spacing that is given to the container, this container gives it. So it's now telling you that anything that is inside of my body should not touch me. In a very simple way, that padding is that this container now is telling that anything that as you're entering, right, don't touch my wall. I want you to be inside. So you can give a padding of 20. So you see that everything now is going to adjust to 20, let me just say 20 inches away from the wall, or 20 pixels away from this wall. Do you understand? If you now choose, you can also adjust and say, okay, let the top go closer to the wall, let it go closer, let the down not go closer. You can adjust it the way you want. But the best thing is always to give one padding. In this kind of case, this is a card. So giving it a padding of the size should be like, can be 20, And this side, look at it, the measurement from this place to this place, right, is almost the same thing as this place draw to this text element, right? So that is padding. Padding gives your work space, and this space is always what is inside a container. Only container can give a padding inside of it. Any element that enters inside a container respects that authority, right? So that's it. I hope I answered your question. So this text element that you're seeing here, you will not see the padding. You will not see the padding because of the kind of, let me delete this. The layout that you're seeing here, as you can see, there is no box, right? So you will not see padding there. You can only see the gap that they have given between make the switch today and you understand, blah, blah, blah. So these two text now has a gap that is between two of them. The same thing with even this guy. There is a gap here, right? There is a gap between these two. Between this, remember that there is, if you look at, you want to study this card carefully, there is a div that is holding this top element, renest, and then this one now is on it. You can even put another div here to hold this one. Then down below, we now have another div holding this down element, debit card, blah, blah, blah. And then this one. Understand? So, so that's how it works. So there is a gap there's a gap. We have relative gapping. We have, let me not go deep into that. There is gap that you can give that it will split things around. For example, now let me check if, like this desktop stuff, there's a gap you can give. Now, this is how you can give gaps. This one is for fake Marshall. Let me zoom in. So let me put a color here. And then I can give it a gap now with this desktop frame. I can give it this is a gap of 13, right? But I can now give it a gap of even, as I'm increasing it, they are spacing themselves. Do you understand? That is how gaps work, even when we are building. But this one is not where we are building. This one is just for our work, right? So if you now do auto layout, then you can now add padding, for things to work the way you want. So that is how it is. So any other question? So let me check the time before I do anything. Hold on. Okay, it's already to 10. So let me just get your question. Where you may have lost, where you need explanation, but you know you follow me, at least you understand some basic things. So do we understand? So let us do a little structure of this card. This is a card, right? If you want to, let's say you want to design this card now with, let's say, WordPress, which is what we're going to use. So the first thing is that I'm doing only this card, not this other one, just this other card. So I'll just do my frame. I would have said rectangle, but anyone is not like the main building. So I'll just put in my div, right? And then I'll give it a border radius. I'll show you where you can do this. And then I'll give it a color. Now, in this particular parent element, there is two this thing on top. Again, always study every layout. Even as you're checking for inspiration, study the layout and ask yourself, if I want to achieve this, right, how will I achieve it? You can even use your pen and pencil and then sketch out how you're going to achieve each layout. That's the best way to get it right. Study the layout. There is no magic. If you study layout very well, then you can do complex layout. Trust me. So you just study that, okay, this guy, this active and this renest are two different elements, but they are kept in one place. So what can I do? I will now put in another div. because only div has that right, that power to give authority to them. And then this div now, I'll now put in my first element, which is this active. This can be a button self. I'll show you how to do this. Right, so I'll just put this here. Let me give it a color, different color for you to see. Right, so that one is my button. Then my logo, of course. Mind you that this layout is going vertically. Where is my pencil? Let me change that color so you can see it.
I have a question regarding what you're doing right now.
Okay.
So is it not possible? What if you don't want to put this parent container, this white one now? You know, you have drawn the card already, the size of the card. I'm talking about this brown, smaller for the active, and the white one behind it. That's the parent of the brown this thing. What if, is it not possible you decide not to put in the white box? You just put in those elements for the active and the logo. If you put it directly without
this, let me make it without this. Look at that. I just
white
made it to
rectangle.
white.
Is it not going to work?
Everything will be falling down. Everything will be going down. It will scatter.
Okay. It's because it's horizontal. So okay, I get it now.
Yes, this black one is horizontal because we want everything to be going. Observe, everything is going downwards. It's only a few things that are going side by side. So this Oga, the first black one, is going downwards. Everything inside, right, is going down. So if you just put in your element, then just know that active and redness will not go side by side. They'll be falling downwards, which is not what we want.
I get it now.
All right. So for this
container, excuse me, but if everything is going downwards, then there's no point for the white rectangle.
Yes, this white rectangle is for you to see on a very normal. Remember that divs are like invincible boxes. On a very normal, this is how it would be like. Let me just remove it will be like 0. You'll not see it. What you're going to be seeing will just be these guys.
Okay.
You don't be seeing things on the front like what you're seeing here. But there are things there's something that is holding it. They are invincible boxes.
Okay, understood.
Yes, that is what is holding content in a website. So I'm doing that so that you can see that we're just trying to explain it. And then to achieve this middle the money inside, you can choose to just put it because remember everything is going down. You can just put it and then leave it. But I will not recommend that because if you want to have a neat layout, you need to have a good structure. So you have to what you can do is even to duplicate the first div. Let me see if I can find it. The one I just reduced the opacity. It's somewhere here, but I can't see it. It's just for you to duplicate it, right? And then, so I'll just draw another div to show you. Let me just reduce the opacity. Then this div is going to house this div is what is going to house this money, right? Whatever figure is here. Where is my $sign? Where is it? Okay. So this div is going to house whatever figure that is here, right? And then, sorry, to not disturb any other person. Then you now have the last div below. And the last div below, right? The last div below, let me bring this down. The last div below has 2 divs from what I have seen. Okay. Has 2. Remember the one on top, I only put 1 div, but then only give it a direction because they are like singular elements. But look at this guy, it has 2 other elements inside. In fact, it even has a little icon here. So that means that it's not a singular content. It's a multiple content. So what do? I also have to put in another div because the content here, the content inside here is coming down, right? So you have to follow me very carefully. The content is coming down. Well, the main other content, these two, you see that they're going side by side like this one. But there's a content again that is going down. So what do? I'll put in another div, right? So this is it. So this white div is going to control this business debit to be going downwards. Meanwhile, let me give it a color. This red, let me use red. Which color should I use for you to see? Let me just use green. I want to see it very well so you understand. So now this green container is going vertical, right? It's going vertically, sending elements to go vertically. How do I draw this to be straight? Sending elements to go vertically. So that's why you have these things side by side. If not, they will not be side by side. Okay, so so you have it side by side. Remember, these boxes are just to guide you. When you're doing it, you only be seeing lines. You'll be seeing lines, but that's why you need to understand it now. So this first one has the first text element. So I can now write, let me just write business. And I will reduce the size to something smaller. So the only reason that we are putting this white div is because we want to control these two things to come down, right? So this element, this div now would have the horizontal direction, okay? And then you can now duplicate your content. Let's say you want to put, let's say you want to put the other content. Now this place is just for that content, okay? We make it black. So you now see that these two things are what? Scaling downwards. Well, this one now, this div now, you just put your logo. Just put your logo here and then align it. Alignment matters. Oh, we'll talk about alignment. This one is aligned. Let me see. It's aligned to the right. To the right. This one is aligned to the left. Okay. That's what you're seeing. Business debits and then this star. All of them are aligned to the left. So very simple. This is just how you can achieve this kind of layout. That's how you achieve that layout when you're building. It's just a matter of understanding. Just study your containers and you're good to go. So any question? We are done for today's class. It's to 10. So what you can do now is to start studying, checking for your inspiration, right? And then submitting it in the group with the sample, and then I'm going to review and approve them. Because as I'm building our live projects, you're going to be building your own personal project. So as you're learning, you're also practicing. Yes.
Okay, so I think you should drop the content of the assignment for us in the group so we can just read and then be reminded on what to do. Then, as secondly, is it possible to power clip in Figma? How is it possible to achieve power clipping?
Okay, what do you want to power clip?
Like for instance, maybe there's a picture attached to this ATM, for instance, and you want that picture to take the exact shape of the card. So maybe you don't want to undergo stress, and then you just maybe decide to power clip. Does it work in Figma.
Though I don't really understand what you are saying, but as someone that uses CorelDRAW, right? I use CorelDRAW, so I understand what power clip means, but I don't understand what you want to achieve. But whatever you want to achieve in terms of putting something inside anywhere, you need to follow the process because you're building on the web. Understand? You're not like designing, you're actually building. So building is like just like the way you build your house, block by block, brick by brick, small, small. So everything is laid under something. So even if you want to achieve like this, okay, let me just say like this, like this one now, if it is CorelDRAW, you can bring in this image, right? And then power, if it is an image, this can be a gradient self. But let's say this is an image, this lights color stuff inside this background. Let's say this is an image and you want to power clip, right? I don't know if that's what you mean, no. I don't want to power clip it inside this frame. What you do is that you need to
that's
follow
what I mean.
yeah, so what you do is that you need to understand that this is a frame and not a rectangle, not an object, right? In CorelDRAW, we use objects, we use text to power clip things. You can power clip things inside a text, you can power clip things inside an object, a rectangle, and the rest. But this one is a frame. So what you do is that you make this one, you're going to make this one a background. This color is going to be a background. And then this your image is going to be a background overlay. And then you just keep it here, right? I'll show you how you can achieve that. For example, what you have, if I can find it, okay, I covered it. What we have here, look at, we have an image in this background, and then we still have a color. That is because one of them is a main color, and then we now use background overlay. So background overlay is also where you can put in an image, right? You can put in an image, and then it will still be in the background. So like that's two different graphic elements in one place. So that's how you can achieve it. So when you now say background overlay, that's when you just click on it, select your image, and then bring it in. You can even choose how to keep it, right, customly. You can choose, let's say you want to keep it here, you can just choose it and then just drag it using the sliders. There's custom placement. So those things are actually achievable with what you are using. So I hope I answered your question. So you can't power clip, but there is a way to work over it. That's the summary.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so that is the end of today's class, and I'll see you in the group. If there's any questions, you can still let me know. Bye for now.